give us, obviously a lot has changed in the market, right? Can you guys kind of give us an overview and a summary of what went down? Obviously, there was a lot of highs and lows, especially last year. But now it looks like 2024, first quarter, we're up to a really solid start with cryptocurrency being very high numbers. What went down?
Yeah, so like me and Miguel kind of like take a few different takes, but then we merge it together. So I'm more on the technical side, like looking at the charts and where the price is going, cycle timing and stuff like that. Miguel's more on the fundamental side, but of course those things always mix. But like the biggest thing that happened since the last time we were on the show was Bitcoin's ETF approval. Yep. So I think it was back in August of last year.
Hey, can you tell the people what an ETF is real quick?
Yeah, it's an exchange-traded fund. It's basically an IOU for the underlying asset. So if you want to buy gold and trade it globally, you're not going to do that with physical gold. So you can buy an ETF. You can also use it to hedge your positions if you have like a lot of something, stuff like that. But basically for Bitcoin, it's BlackRock has the ETF along with Fidelity and Grayscale. They have some of the largest ones, and so it's a way for you to buy Bitcoin.
It's almost like kind of getting a share into something.
Yeah,
right. It's like a share, and like it tracks the price of Bitcoin for the most part, but
and they usually fractionalize it too. They make it really cheap, so you can buy like $4 at a time.
Yeah,
right. Okay. It might be over and undervalued, but you can, the boomers can buy it. People can put it in their 401k.
Stock people
IRAs.
can buy it.
Yep.
Exactly. So basically, they took Bitcoin and they made it into an ETF, which is huge.
Right, and that people have been trying to do that since 2014.
Yeah.
So it's been 10 years in the making. And Gary Gensler still, when he put out the letter that said, "Hey, we're going to allow the Bitcoin ETF," he basically said, I still don't recommend Bitcoin in the last paragraph. He's like, it's still whatever. And then you have Vanguard actually saying we're not going to list the ETF at all. Because we don't like Bitcoin at this stage. A lot of banks, kind of scared of Bitcoin. Yeah.
So which exchanges have it? What's the ETF? What is it? Is it BTC or something like that? Probably.
So there's 11 of them, and now
11 Bitcoin ETFs.
They approved all of them, so you can just launch one now.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but it's got to be strictly Bitcoin.
Yeah, and like some of them are it's really competitive. I think there's probably only going to be like 3 or 4 that survive. But yeah, you got Grayscale, which is I think they still have the same ticker, but basically it's Grayscale. We have ARK Invest, which is Kathy Wood's company. We have Fidelity, and we have BlackRock. BlackRock is probably the most famous one. It's just iShares, Bitcoin Trust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But BlackRock's the big one because that's
for the boomers out there that are watching right now. If they want to go ahead and get some Bitcoin on BlackRock, probably that's the best way to go.
And they have $2 billion worth of Bitcoin backing up that ETF already, and that's within the first month.
And before they even did this, they were purchasing like 5 or 6% of all these mining. So we had a lot of crypto mining companies. So anyone that was public, BlackRock was buying them. So they have a source to buy Bitcoin as well. So they own a good chunk of the Bitcoin mining sector.
They're buying
as well.
everything, bro.
Yep,
all the assets,
dude. I've been saying it forever. Whatever BlackRock is buying, you got to buy too. People say, "Oh, don't buy real estate," but what is BlackRock doing? They're buying single family homes.
Yep.
Don't buy cryptocurrency. What are they doing? They created a fucking ETF for Bitcoin, and they wouldn't have created that ETF if they hadn't already known that it was going to be the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's the first step towards mass adoption.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because now it's like once you have the banks, or at least the majority of the banks saying, "Hey, we approve of this. It's okay. You can trade it." Then all of a sudden the stigma of, "Oh, crypto's scammy. It's whatever," starts going away. And by about 2030, by the end of this decade, we're pretty much going to see it's kind of like email back in like 1994. People were like, "I don't need an email address. I don't need to use this technology. I got my postal mail. I got fax. What's gonna benefit me from this?" By 1998, every housewife had like 5 different email addresses. Right? It's gonna be the same thing with crypto, because not only with the ETFs, but the central bank digital currencies that they're trying to push. If the governments are successful with that, then essentially you'll have to know how to send and receive a cryptocurrency or something on the blockchain. A digital asset is what they're going to call it. And everybody will have to learn how to do that in order to be able to use a central bank digital currency. So in a way, we have the government and also the banks right now, which have been against Bitcoin for so long, finally starting to be like, okay, we can use this technology, and by using it, even if it's tangential in the form of a central bank digital currency, they're giving approval to it to some extent, right? They have to regulate it now. They have to make it a part of the market. And then they're going towards tokenized securities at the end of the decade as well. You'll be able to trade like Tesla stock through a blockchain, so that way you can trade it 24/7, 365.
Oh,
That's going to change markets. The Japanese stock exchange in Osaka, which is their second main exchange, is already testing all of that technology out.
So this whole Monday through Friday, not 8 to 5, is going to be gone soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be possible to trade outside of that. And so they're probably not going to want to, circumvent the CME and all of this, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the NASDAQ and all these things. So they're still going to have like their hardcore way of trading, but then they're going to say, hey, if you want to do a derivative, which is our tokenized asset, right? It's not the main asset. It may be like a representation of an IOU of the main asset. You can go trade it on chain 24/7. And then they'll have to match the price on opening probably to what's going on in the crypto side.
wow.
Yeah. That's dope.
And Larry Fink from BlackRock said that specifically.
Larry
Like
Fink.
that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, that's the guy running BlackRock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know.
I wonder where he's
They
from.
know what that sound effect means, huh?
I wonder where he's from. I had a question actually, real quick.
Yeah.
So we're moving into like a cashless, I want to say society where like most people aren't going to use cash anymore, right? And we see it in video games online. You spend with money, you get tokens in the game, and you buy items, right? But when it comes to actually like video games, what's the future you think with Bitcoin as well?
Oh, it's going to be some version of like Ready Player One, something like that. I mean, it's not going to be all the way like
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. It's not going to be like all the way like everyone's living in a trailer park home, but it's going to be a version of like you work in this game or you work in a real life job. You make your money in stable coins. And then from there, you just purchase stuff online and it just shows up to your door. So it's going to be like, so you could be in a video game and because it's not the games now, but it's going to be games in the future where like it's going to be open, you can trade them, and then you could use those game coins or skins after killing somebody, you won their loot, you could sell that off and then use that to go buy like new gear or go buy clothes or go buy water or pay your rent and stuff. You can just that's because all this stuff's worth value because if people want it, then it has value. Right,
Wow.
It's just like when people were playing World of Warcraft, there was Chinese gold miners. Like you were not allowed to sell your WoW gold, but people were still buying it for what I think it was like $12 for like 10,000 gold or like I forgot how much it was back in the day, but that's what's an illegal market. With a legal market, it then becomes like a free flowing kind of currency that can really appreciate in value. Yeah,
That's pretty dope.
So, and here's the thing, because I remember, being like in high school and hearing about this thing, like in 08, Bitcoin, there's this cryptocurrency, and everyone was like, what the hell is this shit? And it's been something that hasn't been, people kind of looked at. It was like on the fringes of society, right? Like no one took it seriously. It was, this is BS. I remember one guy famously bought like Domino's Pizza with Bitcoin, which I think today, how much is that Bitcoin worth that he spent?
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Maybe a billion.
He spent like 100 Bitcoin or some shit like that to buy Domino's Pizza.
10,000.
Or Papa John's Pizza. It was 10,000 Bitcoin.
10,000 Bitcoin.
To buy a Papa John's Pizza back in like 2008, 2009 or whatever. And now it's worth like, hundreds of millions of dollars. So like what we're seeing is cryptocurrency is slowly becoming more and more and more legit. It's becoming more and more mainstream, which obviously for the hardcore people are like, no, fuck this shit is going to go into normie land. But on the other side, the more it becomes legit, the more it goes up in value and the more, your investment that you put in prior, pays off.
Right.
And the fact that it's an ETF is huge because, for the boomers out there that like to invest in VOO or, in the Vanguard stock, they like to invest in like ETFs.
Yeah.
Right? VO, I think if I'm not mistaken, is like the total market exchange or the S&P 500. Because people like to invest in like index funds, right? Safe, nice ETF
It's
index
safe,
funds.
that's why.
Right? But now that Bitcoin has its own ETF through BlackRock, and we know that BlackRock, a lot of the times, as much as we criticize them and say, hey, it's the elites and evil, whatever, they pretty much, whatever they're investing in is what you should invest in, right? And they're investing in single-family homes, but they're not telling anyone that. They're silently buying single-family homes under other people. Now we know that they created this ETF and a couple other companies have. I would say at this point, you can't talk shit about Bitcoin no more. It's here to stay. Now that they made it an ETF.
If you can't beat them, join them, honestly.
Yeah.
At this point.
For all the people out that say, cryptocurrency is a scam, blah, blah, blah. And I used to think that too. I remember when I had my first consult with Charlie, like, 2-3 years ago now at this point.
End of 2019.
I was skeptical too. I was like, what the fuck is this shit, Bitcoin? This makes no sense. And he was like, look, man, and I bought it. It was around $3,000 at the time. I'm glad I bought it. Like, I think I bought like a quarter of a coin or half a coin at that point. And the only thing I'm like pissed off now is that I wish I bought more.
I remember I saw your portfolio. I said, yo, hold on a second here. made all this money.
Yeah.
Count me into it, bro.
But I remember at the time, right? I was like, hey, go in with what you're willing to lose, that kind of thing and stuff. But there was also some other people around us in that space at the time. They were like humming and hawing. You actually like bit the bullet and did it.